Good morning, my name is James Igoe. I'm an investment manager with Redmayne Bentley. We are an investment and wealth management business. We're here today to talk about artificial intelligence, or AI for shorthand, about how it's changing the world that we live in, what might be coming down the pipe, and more pertinently, how it's impacting the stock market and the type of investments we consider on behalf of clients. It goes without saying, any companies that we mention today don't constitute a recommendation to buy or sell. You should also always seek personal advice if you're going to invest. So I'm joined today by Mark Woodford, who is a private client senior director at JTC. Mark, thanks for coming along. We are here to talk about AI. It's a pretty expansive subject. This conversation will be considered a massive success if we can distill it into 3 minutes, but we're going to try. So Mark, let's start with hearing from you a little bit about yourself, your company and your role within it.
Firstly, morning James, thank you for having me today. So I'm Senior Director for JTC Group. We're an international leading wealth administration services business. I'm based in our Jersey office. I've been in Jersey for 27 years, working for JTC for the past 5 years. I work with a team that manage the affairs of entrepreneurs, individuals, families of high and ultra high net worth individuals. As a business working with our clients, we're seeing lots of inquiries start to come through from them, curious more about just the stock market in general, but also how they're looking to implement that into their own businesses. The stock picking isn't really one that we would be looking at. That's not our job. It's why we work with professionals like yourselves to talk us through those companies. But in terms of AI as a business, yeah, we're very AI curious. We're working with forums internationally on that and sharing information on AI.
Thanks, Mark. That's great. So a good place to start might be to define artificial intelligence, certainly one definition anyway. So we would think about it as the ability for a company, for instance, to use the data that it has more intelligently. So thinking about kind of, let's say, a radiographer, to use a hypothetical example, a radiographer may look at 10 scans a day, and of those 10 scans may be able to accurately interpret 8 of them. If we put that into an AI setting, AI has the ability to run millions of different scans in real time to get really deep granularity on what they may actually infer. I guess that's probably worthwhile mentioning because it sets it against kind of what the naked eye may miss. In our world, so Amazon would be an example of a business that intelligently uses its data to put the right products in front of the right consumer, and it's been doing that for a very long time. Equally, a business like Tesla that focuses on electric vehicles. So Tesla, what it is doing continuously, day in, day out with the vehicles that it has on the road, is collecting information from its cameras, its sensors, its radars, to get a better feel for how these cars behave on the road with an eye to self-driving cars in the future. So that's a little bit, I guess, around a couple of examples we see, Mark. So from your world as a trustee, you've got individuals and families who have multiple business interests. Some of those are in the stock market. We can talk a little bit around that. Outside of the stock market, they're going to have business interests that are touched or going to be touched by AI. Can you talk a little bit about how you're staying abreast of all of that?
Sure. So AI is a disruptor. There's no getting away from that, and we're going to have to embrace it. It's the level to which we embrace it, I think, is what we're looking at as a business now. Clients are certainly curious about it or even implementing it already. As I mentioned before, we are working really closely with industry on this. We understand there is an air of caution though. We've all read and seen examples where it's been abused, and it will be abused, and I think it will create another compliance industry, or certainly a sector of that, to oversee this. So where people are talking about it's going to eradicate jobs, I think it's probably going to create jobs because there's going to be new reliance upon people to oversee it. I think that's where we're looking at the moment. So it's an aid for us at the moment, certainly for ourselves. So clients have already got exposure to AI through the Magnificent Seven in their investment portfolios, the likes of Apple, Amazon, Tesla. So there is exposure to it, but they're becoming more curious as well, and we'll continue to see that. I guess from my perspective is, how do you see it panning out in the stock market and just industry in general?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the thing to say is things can and do change. If you looked at a census from 100 years ago in America, you'd see 3 of the top listed jobs as fruit picker, wood chopper and telephone operator. I guess as difficult as it was to predict the future then, so it is now. We definitely sort of remain open-minded. I guess what we're also cognizant of is that not all of the future will be painted by AI. So we think about businesses like Novo Nordisk, who produce weight loss drugs. The opportunity for Novo Nordisk, and if the take-up is what we think it might be, is pretty prolific actually. And the ramifications that can have on, you know, healthcare budgets and the way we live our lives is quite profound. So we try and stay abreast of things happening in and out of the AI world because they may have an impact on one another. So we also think about Microsoft. You know, just to use an anecdotal example, Microsoft have Office, so Excel, Word, lots of things people will have been familiar with and used. They also have recently released Copilot, which is their artificial intelligence component. What Copilot does, certainly in one strand, is to help programmers and developers become more effective by giving them prompts on their developer programming duties, so to speak. That has a tremendous potential. So in a recent survey, Microsoft reflected that 70% of Copilot users have said their output has increased, their productivity has increased as a result of Copilot. And when you think about Copilot being in its infancy and its ability to learn as it gets used to the behaviour of the people it's working with, the potential outputs are really phenomenal actually. I guess definitely in the interest of balance, what's important to touch on, which you've done yourself, Mark, is not all of what we know about AI will potentially be beneficial. For instance, regulation has some way to go to catch up with AI. So it's important just to make that point because it's a really fast-moving world. I guess sort of finally, Mark, in your world, I guess what I'm interested to hear is where you see the greatest transformational change in the context of AI.
So at JTC, we see AI as going to be a partner or an ally. It will automate repetitive tasks, it will enhance productivity, and it will drive economic growth. Ultimately, that will produce a better end outcome for our clients, be that internal or external. We're already seeing that internally. I've been privy to something that we're hoping to roll out, aptly named Chat JTC. Pretty phenomenal, to be quite honest, to see it in action, and quite excited for it to be rolled out for the business. I think it'll be quite game-changing for us in terms of just efficiencies it'll create, freeing us up to be able to speak to our clients more, which ultimately is what it's all about, and that's what our job's about, and building deeper relationships. So that's where I think it will create capacity for us. As a business, yeah, we're massively AI curious, and we'll be definitely bringing that into play. But we've just got that air of caution about how much we use it and the reliance around it, and it will always have that human touch for us at this early stage, but we'll continue to be a thought leader and share intel on that.
That's great. Yeah, thanks very much, Mark, for coming along. I'd love to say we put the AI world to rights, but we've made a start at least. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Thanks for having us.